This week in the news, EA removes Anthem from people's libraries, 2 demos were released, only one was good, Valve is sued yet again, and more on this week's Old Man Rages at the News. Hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content. And we're kicking off this week with EA is revoking the licenses and removing the order history for Anthem. It's worth noting that this is one instance so far, but Redditor Huge Lavishness got off a chat with EA support regarding this missing Anthem license, in which he discovered that they are deleting it from accounts and removing transaction records. And according to the user, the agent stated, when they terminate a service, they often perform a global revocation of entertainment. Unfortunately, this often leads to the entry being completely deleted from the EA order history instead of just marking it as inactive. Translation: you will not be able to even prove that you had the game using the order history. At the very least, you have your transaction history with your bank, but I'll be honest, I have no idea how useful that will be. Another user in the comments also did confirm that their license was removed as well, showing how important the Stop Killing Games initiative actually is. Now, for something utterly predictable. Now, you might have heard this already, but for those who haven't, a Pokemon card shop was forced to rebrand after Nintendo contacted them following an armed robbery. Now, can't really blame you if you think this is South Park's skit, but then again, Nintendo's involved in this, so yeah. The card shop was originally called Pokecourt, but now they have changed their name to the Training Court. And for the following weeks after the January robbery, the wider Pokemon community supported the business. The Trainer Court even posted a thank you message to the people reaching out. The shop took this situation well, even stating that they are evolving. Impressive wordplay. And they continued with, above all, we have always been fans of Pokemon. We are a group of kids who refuse to grow up, and we spend every day celebrating this franchise that means so much to us. Yeah, if only Nintendo thought that way. Moving on, the OG re-release of Final Fantasy VII is in hot waters because of issues with it. Classic, I know. Now this new re-release does include stuff like 3x speed, turning off random encounters, and a battle enhancement mode, but the speed modifier that only increases the speed of the animations was poorly implemented, making textures blurry, including in important cinematics. Anybody who plays a Final Fantasy game knows how story goes in that game. They did release an update fixing the issue, but the game still remains at mixed. One of the reviewers went as far as to say, oh my fucking god, bilinear filtering is so ugly, I just played the 2013 version without glasses on if I wanted the game to look like this. Holy shit. If this thing is that bad, then Nintendo fans can be happy since it sounds like the Switch finally found a third-party game that it can run properly. Moving on, the Saints Row design director, Chris Stockman, says he believes the series is dead, and Embracer hasn't said a thing. What a way to prove his point. Now, the article over on IGN didn't provide any screenshots of the messages, but using what was described here, I looked around and found this tweet showing the interaction. He wrote, yeah, and honestly, I think the franchise is dead, unfortunately. I get the sense that Embracer had zero ability to do anything with it. I wish things were different. I tried my best to offer a path forward, but they've ghosted me. IGN also asked Embracer for a statement on Stockman's comments, but the spokesperson said the company will not comment on rumors and speculations. Dear lord, that spokesperson is dodging comments like it's Dark Souls 3. Moving on, Game Rant here believes that Arc Raiders dropping player count is good news for Bungie's marathon. Sure, on the surface it sounds logical since both are extraction shooters, but we all know Marathon won't be able to finish a marathon. Hell, They even believe that Marathon's story is filled with highs and lows, which already says more about the writer than anyone would like to admit. Now, they believe that there was a lot of positive feedback for the game's art direction. You know, the one that they stole from an independent artist. At least they can admit that the alpha test left participants disappointed, so at least that's something. Now, going into the article, instead of the recap that some journalists love to do, they point out that our creators lost a lot of players since it launched. Sure, they lost more than half of the players, but that's just something completely normal for games. I guess that would be too much for them to figure out though. They also believe it will ignite a new rivalry that's on par with Call of Duty and Battlefield. If, and that's a big if, Marathon delivers. Ironically enough, the said if is also cosplaying as Atlas, carrying the weight of the world on its shoulders. Or the expectations of players and, well, the benefit of hindsight, bad decisions. Now, the demo did peak at around 143,000 players, with it currently sitting at 44,000. That still didn't cause that much of a drop in our creator's player count. I mean, the player count could be because everyone has access to the server to try it out, but, you know, we won't know until we get the Steam reviews next week. What is accessible though is public statements like this. Yeah, these people are struggling to even boot up the game. Even Insider Gaming had to cosplay as tech support twice in order to get this shit show running. Oh boy. And that's just scratching the surface of it. But you know what? I'm just gonna let people explore out what's happening here. It's comedic. And who knows? Might just cover the rest of this shit show in next week's segment. I mean, let's be honest here, this thing gets a next week's segment because at one point they were so butthurt about our creators that it was censored for a bit during the launch of the so-called server slam. But at the very least, I want to give the company credit where credit is due, as they chased away Dr. Disrespect's claims that he is one of the partnered content creators. I mean, they aren't right, but at least they decided not to partner up with him. If you know, you know. And now moving on to another demo that's worth it, especially for a good amount of players. The game Windrose, well, specifically the demo for the game, looks very good. Hell, I would even say that this is what Sea of Thieves wished it could be. I mean, just looking at it gives me Black Flag vibes. That's just me. The demo got an all-time peak of 22,000 players, with it currently sitting at 10,000. And that's not all the traction it got, since the one, the only, the Roach King himself, Asmongold, played it on stream and uploaded a 10-minute video that got nearly 900,000 views. You know that people are interested in this when stuff like this hits the floor. And who knows, maybe Marathon's devs would look at this and say, what do people find interesting here? And now for the platform that all gamers use. Discord is cutting ties with Persona. Finally, some good fucking decisions on Discord's end. Another thing Discord did was delay the global age verification, as PC Gamer pointed out, after upsetting almost everybody on Earth. Talk about an achievement. Now, they pulled out a massive wall of text that I don't think a lot of people would love to read. I could even swear that some statements were said before, like this one. Over 90% of users will never need to verify their age to continue using Discord exactly as they do today. They also claim they will be more transparent with their partners, and I do believe that the system they explain here works as intended. Now, my biggest gripe is that nothing is stopping the third party to sell this data that they are getting. And surprisingly enough, that happens a lot. For their transparency, they will document every vendor they work with on their website, including their data handling and offering multiple verification vendors. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're not gonna detail everything. Frankly, I'll be surprised if they do. But anyways, They also try to educate their users on how it works around the world. Like, yes, we know how the UK, Australia, and Brazil require this by law, but holy fuck. Not every country in the EU or every state in the US requires this as a law. You could have delayed it as much as rationally possible, especially since, a lot of people don't like giving out their IDs, and if you grew up on the internet, you were told never give your personal information to strangers. And guess what? Those verification companies that Discord is going to be partnering with are considered strangers. The cherry on top is that, they mentioned earlier that they were aware how controversial this will be. Common sense is not so common. They even reiterated that 90% of people won't need to verify. They're really hell-bent on reminding everyone that 9 out of 10 users have a chance to not need to verify. Yeah, right. All of this effort could have been spent elsewhere, like, teaching young parents the first things about actually teaching kids how to behave on the internet. Not shoving an iPad in front of them, playing Cocomelon and be like, why is my kid chewing on crayons whilst trying to shove a metal object in the power outlet? Their expost also didn't get that much love, if any. Hell, even one of the Cold 3 tweets got more likes than the Discord post in which Maple wrote, "Translation, we got caught. We lied about getting caught. We got caught again. We tried to distance ourselves from one problematic company for another problematic company. We got caught doing that too. We're gonna try again in 6 months and hope none of you notice." Somebody has completed their bachelor's degree in corporate speak. Discord. In 6 months' time, I'm calling it right here and right now, we're gonna be back at square one with you lot, aren't we? Jesus Christ. And in more Ubisoft news, the director for Assassin's Creed Hex left Ubisoft. To be more specific, Vantage Studio announced the new leadership for their Assassin's Creed franchise, with 3 people tasked to handle the head of the Assassin's Creed brand, head of production excellence, and head of content, who is serving as the new director for Assassin's Creed Hex. Now, the good news that head of content for the franchise is Jean Guston, and I most likely butchered the last name. You're gonna be more familiar with the work he carried out, specifically being the creative director for Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, 2 games that were received quite well. Insider Gaming was also informed that the lead scriptwriter worked on the scripts for Assassin's Creed Origins, Valhalla, and Mirage. The article also points out that it will be more like an old school Assassin's Creed, with the main character being a female named Elsa, while the setting being 16th century Europe during the Holy Roman Empire. Oh boy, we're gonna be hearing Roman Empire jokes all day, every day, aren't we? And now for more good news. The Simpsons hidden developer Radical Entertainment has relaunched its website and rebranded to New Radical Games. Now, what that means is that potentially we could be getting a lot of old remasters of old games that they made in the past. Now, the website itself stated, "Our highly skilled team is available immediately to take on full game, metaverse, or real-time VFX projects. We also provide smaller strike teams to help with optimization, live ops, design tuning service, and more. And we specialize in remastering classic games by enhancing visual, audio, and gameplay to revive beloved titles for modern hardware, appealing to both new players and long time. Jeeves, bring me the tank of hopium! We might be getting a remaster of Simpsons Hit and Run." Moving on, the state of New York is suing Valve for its promoting of illegal gambling through loot boxes. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm also a Valve enjoyer, so this makes me qualified enough to give my opinion and nothing more. Attorney General Letita James, if that's even how you pronounce that name, at this point I've given up, issued a lawsuit on the 25th of February and posted this tweet. Valve, a video game developer, has made billions of dollars by letting children and adults illegally gamble for the chance to win valuable virtual prizes. These features are addictive and harmful. That's why I'm suing to stop Valve's unlawful conduct and protect New Yorkers. Following that, X does what they are known for, aka making videos easier to make, and added context that Counter-Strike is rated M with Steam parental controls, dismissing one of the points in the lawsuit. Nice! Now, let's see if Valve uses that tactic. Not only that, but cosmetics are optional with disclosed odds, which casinos do not have, by the way, and there are no cash out options available on Steam. Now, I'm not gonna deny that it's harmful and addictive. Hell, I hate the idea of loot boxes to its very core, but the reason why the community note brought up the M rating is because here, the lawsuit states that the dangers of exposing minors to gambling has been recognized by the New York legislature. Parental control is a foreign entity to these people, it looks like. They also brought up a teenager named Elijah who got a gambling addiction from a third-party website. Yes, the third-party website. That's outside of Steam's control. And according to a well-known gambling publisher, we've seen countless cases of kids using their parents' credit cards after being sucked into this world, some as young as 11. Shocking! Teenagers are doing stupid shit. More news at 5. Anyways, if that is truly a concern, then start going after literally any company that had something like this happen in it. You know, outside of gaming as well. Some people just don't want somebody's hobby to, well, exist apparently. Now, the lawsuit does have a point here. Since, well, you know, normally skins and cosmetic stuff don't have any value, but due to the fact that they can be sold on the community market, you know, that's giving you a digital Steam currency, which can be used to buy Valve hardware and anything on Valve Store. That can be argued as giving it a form of value. Then again, it is also dictated by the market and the community. Not only that, but Valve also allows trading between people who don't have each other as friends by sharing a unique trade offer link which can be pasted into a third-party website. Now, Madam Savvy basically echoed my thoughts here when she wrote quite the big statement, and I quote, "We have a very broken system. The New York AG is way out of line. Never went after FIFA, which was rated E by the ESRB, thus failing to protect children from the concept of gambling with real money. The reason I suspect they are going after Valve is because while Valve bent the knee to the banks, they still aren't playing ball completely. The ESRB is a failed propaganda machine describing gambling in a kid's game as quote-unquote optional. If the ESRB has selectively failed on this front, what others have they failed on too? It gets even worse when you look at social ties and the ESRB blogs and podcasts, because for some reason it is a brand now. All the games listed there are rated M for mature, meaning only adults should be playing them. This suit is flawed from the start, does not represent the system in place that are being abused, and worse, is most likely politically motivated. Do not think I have forgotten about the ADL and their bullshit. Research that rich rocket sucker. Mark Warren happily lapped up as he loves censorship. The research alleged that Steam was anti-Semitic for a frog meme. Yeah, and in case somebody out there needs a translation, these fuckers are going after Steam. It's clear as daylight, otherwise they would have chewed up EA and spit it out. And we're looking at doing that a long time ago. Now, kicking off this next segment, we have AI replacing journalists. This post was made by Max Nicole, where he discovered that he was replaced by AI while preparing to review Resident Evil 9. Now, I had some sympathy for her since, I don't like the idea of AI replacing reviewers, regardless of how bad they are, until I looked at the comments of the video linked and saw she promoted Mothership. That activist latent website that poses as a games website. Now, we do also have PC Gamer, whose journalists could never be replaced by AI since, they can't write this masterpiece of an article about Exvoto. And yeah, they found a way to praise the game and simp over an actress at the same time. And it's just the start of the article. Now, peeling the fluff away, I had to do a double take because this, what I'm about to read, sounds like a poorly written fanfic on Tumblr. Hell, I think Tumblr is reaching. It's more like that poorly written fanfic you did back in 8th grade that you don't want to get out in public because of how obviously bad that shit was. But anyways, here I go. The bandits come swinging at Aeta with a variety of weapons, and you respond by showing them the error of their ways by slicing and dicing with your long sword. And metal clanks upon metal, sparks fly, and blood spews forth as Aeta's quest to find Bianca and stop the slaughter picks up pace. Encounters are relatively rare, with Aeta slowly progressing from fighting one bandit to multiple foes and into large packs. Mind you, I'm not even halfway through the article so far. Now, at least they saved some of my sanity by pointing out that the world is empty. And here they also talk about how lifeless the character is. Well, shocking no one. Bad game remains bad, but God forbid you try to say something bad about the game without following up with something good. Like this! Then there are a few things that didn't suit my taste. One choice, for example, is that as soon as an enemy comes into combat range, their health bar, bright white, appears directly under them. You can see some of those garish immersion breaking bars in the nearby screenshots. The world of Exvoto looks so good, and I love the fantasy of playing as a medieval knight and inhabiting a 14th century world so much that these aesthetically jarring video game life bars take something away from the experience. Now is a good point to mention that I'm halfway through the article. And I gotta tell you, not even wine from the 18th century or the 14th century is gonna help me here. But the torture must continue. So I had to look at Kotaku's post about how hot Leon Scott Kennedy is. And the title is Leon Scott Kennedy. I'm on PREP. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go wash my mouth out with soap before continuing.
A few moments later.
Alright, and for the 5 people out there, including myself, since I kinda had to figure this shit out, PREP is a preventative medicine for HIV. Actually, screw this. I don't want this torture. The D20 psychic damage I got from the title was good enough, since I still need enough brain cells for the last bit. The Xbox CEO change. You know what? Let's jump into that right now then. So, Xbox's head Phil Spencer is retiring on Monday, and Xbox President Sarah Bond is also resigning, with the new CEO being Asha Sharma, who was present at Microsoft's core AI product. Yeah, we're going strong on this one, aren't we? Now, the new Xbox boss is worried about birth rates and says, AI will save us all. Oh, brother. Sure as shit someone's got their priorities all messed up. Even Kotaku mentioned how the declined birth rate is multifactorial, with primary reason being income for the US. So sure, AI can improve fertility rate, but so far, AI has done jack shit to help people afford more than a single child at best. Now, the whole goes deeper though, since she admitted that she has no gaming experience but promises no more, quote, bad AI. I wonder if her statements are AI generated at this point. Now, this came from an interview with Variety where she explains her stance of no tolerance for bad AI, which is rich coming from Microslop. If you know what's going on with Windows 11, you know. She even said, and I quote, AI has long been part of gaming and will continue to be. Yeah, Xbox is absolutely fucked. So far, I've never seen AI to be truly useful. I mean, I tried crunching a few numbers for Factorio once using AI, while doing them manually in parallel. Somehow, both me and the AI got different answers. Now, after doing some search online, I also found a chart for what I was looking for. The AI was off. Let's put it like that. But anyways, back to Xbox. And it also doesn't help that this article near the end wrote, who's to say that an Xbox boss should have hundreds or thousands of hours racked up to earn their spot? Nobody sane here is asking for thousands of hours. We're asking for someone who actually understands us. Now, Permaban on X also did some digging and found that her first gaming achievement she unlocked was dated the 16th of February 2026 for the Halo Master Chief Collection. Achievements for multiple games were unlocked on the same day, which implies non-organic grinding of various distinct games within the span of a day. She has 100% completion on short walking sim type games like Firewatch, Gone Home, A Short Hike, Town Scraper, and Bollocks Pit, which means she played 43 hours in 1 week. To me, all this implies that someone else played on her account, or she has a lot of free time, which is shocking for a CEO of a big company. Now, assuming this is all legit, played by her and her alone, either A, she's just a public figure and someone else is leading the company, or B, she plays games during her job, which is, well, a red flag, or could be seen as a red flag depending on who you are and what your job is. I'm looking at you, game testers. Then again, your job being called playing games is stretching it, but yeah. Anyways, Xbox's co-creator thinks that the new CEO is there to sunset the Xbox brand. Quite a statement there, and in an interview with GamesBeat, Samus Blackley explains that he believes many Microsoft businesses that aren't related to the core AI business are being sunset. To be more specific, he said, Xbox, like a lot of businesses that aren't the core AI business, is being sunset. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job is going to be as a palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. It just seems really true. I mean, the logic is sound, since why would you put an AI bro in charge of a gaming company? Doesn't make sense otherwise. Now, Xbox couldn't catch their breath since the UK age verification launch locked out thousands of players as well. Well, all I'm gonna say on that front is someone could have learned a thing or two from the Discord drama around age verification. But anyways, that's all for me this week. Again, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you next time.